Welcome to AI for Good, the leading action-oriented, global and inclusive United Nations platform on AI. Organized by ITU, in partnership with 40 UN sister organizations, and co-convened with Switzerland. The goal of AI for Good is to identify practical applications of AI to advance the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and scale those solutions for global impact. In today's session, we're counting on you to use the live video wall feature to ask questions and post comments to help create an engaging discussion. We encourage you to stay until the end to chat, connect, ask questions, and network with our distinguished panelists and world-class AI experts in the neural network. It is now time to kick off the session and welcome our first speaker. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the ITU avatar. So it's a pleasure to be with you to this new edition of AI for Good, co-organized by ITU and UNIDO. My name is Marco Camilla, Chief of Digital Transformation and Artificial Intelligence Strategies at UNIDO, based in Vienna, Austria. So let me just provide a background on the session today, and first introduce UNIDO. So UNIDO is the UN agency working on productive transformation for the industry with the slogan, Progress by Innovation. We support countries all over the world to advance on making countries and cities more productive, competitive, and to advance on improving social development, making more sustainable and prosperous societies. Today is a milestone day because the UN system released a major report, a global digital compact, an open, free, and secure digital future for all. It says, quotation, artificial intelligence holds immense potential for our economies, societies, and the planet. Applied well, AI can increase efficiency and support resource management, climate mitigation, disaster response, and productive economic transformation. So we know that artificial intelligence and frontier technologies in manufacturing and industry offer many opportunities, but technologies are advancing at great speed, putting many industries in the developing world at a disadvantage. In particular, in developing countries and in least developed countries, LDCs, innovation capabilities and capacities are sometimes limited by lack of resources. However, many things are happening. Countries are designing policies and national plans to support the fourth industrial revolution, centering on technologies, and even AI are being centers for AI are being created, and in particular, firms are moving ahead with applications and development. So a regional perspective for AI and digital transformation developments must take the center stage to ensure that systems are built that are fit to the local needs of people, taking into account infrastructure deficit, skills, and other gaps that need urgent attention. So today, we want to give voice to developing countries that are advancing, keeping up with the fast-paced technological development. This panel discussion would also provide some recommendations that may help address some of the key problems in the area, both from a technical and geographical point of view. Additionally, this event could give a glimpse into the proceedings related to the Global Digital Compact, the UN initiative for the UN Secretary General, with a specific focus on industry consideration. So we will have three panelists, and the first panelist is from the UN Economic Commission for Africa, Maktar Sek. Maktar Sek is an Economic Affairs Officer at UNECA since 2006. He holds a PhD degree in telecommunications, electronic system, and multimedia engineering, and he has been involved in the telecommunications, ICT 4D, and STI field for the last 20 years, specializing in areas such as digital policy strategy, and regulatory framework, internet governance, information infrastructure, nanotechnologies, and internet-related technologies, cloud services, artificial intelligence. So he has assisted several African countries to formulate, implement, and evaluate policies and strategies in digital technologies and applications to achieve the sustainable development goals. Just I want to say that UNIDO has been working closely with UNECA on a number of initiatives, such as the Center on AI in Congo, working on the AI framework for Africa with the African Union, and coordinating and working groups on digital economy in Egypt and other countries. So the question, Maktar, is very simple, but it's difficult to answer. No? Is what policy options are needed to enable technology development in Africa, considering the rapid eruption of AI?
Thank you very much, Marco, and it is a great pleasure for me on behalf of United Nations Economic Commission for Africa to be part of this important event. I think to respond to your question, first, what are the key challenges in the continent African before we go to the political initiative we have to take? In AI, African countries faced several challenges, and we need to overcome this challenge to take opportunity to this large economy for AI, because it's estimated to be around $2 trillion today, $2 trillion million today in the market of AI, and by 16 trillion by 2030. And 2030 is the end of the SDG, and an African country has a lot of youth in their population. By 2050, 70% of the population will be under 35 years. And to take opportunity of this AI, there are several challenges Africa should overcome before. First, for the adoption of digital technology, we have a lot of emerging technology in the world and in the continent. As you know, during the COVID time, 5,000 innovations have been developed in the continent. But still, we have a lack of policy in the continent. The policy didn't take into consideration this emerging technology, AI, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, nanotechnology. All this emerging technology are not taken into consideration in this policy, and we need to take into this technology in the policy and strategy at the national and at the continental level to align also with the national plan in order to achieve the sustainable development goal. Also, another issue in the continent, it is the capacity building. There is a lack of skills in capacity building in the continent in this emerging technology on AI. We need to train more people in the AI to take benefits of this technology. Also, the infrastructure and connectivity. As you know, the continent is around 40% access to internet, and a lot of areas, such as the rural area, doesn't have access. Additional to the issue of infrastructure, you add the issue of energy, electricity, where in the major part of the continent is dark without access to this energy. And if you want to expand this infrastructure to develop AI application, we need to develop to evolve the private sector as well as to provide energy access to this population. Another point important we have to take into consideration, it is the security. Without security, we can't take benefits of this AI. And African continent faces a lot of issues on cybersecurity. And as the last estimation, cybersecurity costs 10% of the African GDP. It's not This is due to the technical skill, also to the infrastructure, and we need to develop robust cyber security policy, and also build the capacity on cyber security. Of course, for AI, to develop AI, Africa also is facing the challenge of financing of the innovation. We have a lack of financing the innovation. We don't have a lot of instrument in the continent to fund this young innovator in the AI, and we need to find a solution for that. It is in this regard, UNECA is working with UNIDO in several areas. I think you highlight in your introduction. We also established this AI center in Congo to assist the African country to take the opportunity for AI in the education sector, in the health sector, in the agriculture sector, in the economic sector, in all area sector. This also is open. This African center also will help will help the startup to use AI to develop also their competitivity. And you talk about this strategy framework. We are working with UNIDO, African Union, and also the government of Egypt to develop an AI framework in the continent, because we don't have a regulation in the continent. We talk about ChatGPT, too many things about AI, but there is any regulation in the continent, and we need to develop this this African Union regulation on AI framework to help African country to take benefits of AI technology, as well as AI also has an important role in the implementation of the African free trade area. The other objective, the other activity we are doing at ECA, also we are working also with UNIDO to develop 5G tests, to develop pilot in 5G in 10 African countries, to see how using 5G we can develop use cases based on AI to show the importance of AI and in the 5G technology, as well as to look at the regulatory side. In the cybersecurity also, we talk about cybersecurity a lot, because without secure this digital era, we can't get access to the benefits of provided. We are working with also UNIDO to establish the African Cybersecurity Center in Togo in collaboration with the government of Togo. As well as we talk about digital, we need to build the capacity of the young generation. Why we are working with UNIDO now and the government of Rwanda to establish a STEAM center in Rwanda, in Kigali. And next week, we are going to validate the strategic framework of this STEAM center, and the next phase it is to build this STEAM center. And also we need also this collaboration between all UN agencies, and also between the UN as a private sector, because we should have an inclusive policy to involve everybody on the development of AI in the continent. Why this this webinar is very important, and it opened also the new door on the cooperation. Of course, we work closely with ITU and UNIDO. I think as a partner, AfriLab, we work with AfriLab to develop the startups, the fintech sector. We focus more on the young startup and also the woman startup. We work also with other partner like Alibaba, and we are open to work everywhere here in collaboration with UNIDO to make AI something successful for the benefits of the continent, in order to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 2030, as well as the aspiration and the target of the African Union 2063. And hopefully Africa will be a key actor in the digital era, in the 4I revolution. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think I have done my 10 minutes.
we will go back to some of the issues that you mentioned. But next, so let me introduce Ms. Tesio Colo, Chief of Staff of AfriLabs. AfriLabs is a network organization of over 400 technology and innovation hubs across 52 African countries. So these hubs serve as a center that provide support to African entrepreneurs, innovators, developers, and youth. Tessie, and actually, Magda, you mentioned about the legal framework. No? Tessie actually is a lawyer. She obtained a degree in law at Howdage North American University in the Republic of Benin, and was subsequently called to the Nigerian Bar Association in 2015. And he has a strong legal background to discuss this complex landscape of the African tech ecosystem. So I want to ask you, Tessie, what are the biggest gaps, no, beyond the access to finance, access to skill? So why are these gaps here? And how AfriLabs is supporting entrepreneurs and innovation hubs to fill out those gaps, in particular in terms of artificial intelligence?
Thank you so much. I would like to add that out of our 400 plus innovation hubs in our network, we have about 33 hubs focused on artificial intelligence. Just leaning off on what my fellow panelists has said, the importance of AI and your introduction, it is really, over time, we have realized that AI has remarkable capabilities and the power to propel Africa's industry forward, to foster economic growth and accelerate development. It has the ability as well to transform various sectors. I mean, let's take, for example, the agricultural sector. We keep talking about solving world hunger, right? Imagine infusing AI into agriculture in Africa. We have the land, we have, the resources. We might just solve world hunger in less than 5 years, before even 2030. So these are the things that we see constantly, and there's statistics that prove that AI is of benefit, of good, and not of bad. We have people worried that AI is going to take their jobs, they're going to lose their relevance in society. But I mean, if our forefathers were to, rise from the dead and see the technology available and see planes flying and even flying cars, I'm sure they would just say, take me back. This is not possible. This is not real. But yet we still have jobs. We still have even more jobs. We even have a scarcity of jobs. AI is not taking away jobs. I think it would even give more jobs and opportunities to young entrepreneurs and innovators. According to a study by the International Data Corporation, AI is predicted to contribute 45 billion to Africa's GDP by 2025, representing a significant growth opportunity. By 2030, McKinsey Global Institute estimate that AI has the potential to contribute $1.5 trillion to Africa's economy as it drives productivity gains and enables the emergence of new business models. The World Economic Forum projects that AI has the capacity to create approximately 3.5 million jobs in Africa by 2025. This is just in 2 years' time. In South Africa alone, AI is predicted to generate around 1.2 million jobs by 2030, as highlighted by the World Economic Forum. If we even look into the health sector, AI can revolutionize healthcare delivery system in Africa. According to ITU, AI application in healthcare could generate savings of 16.3 billion by 2025 across the continent. One of our friends in the ecosystem, he runs his company, it's called Zipline, and they transfer healthcare needs to hospitals that are like 10 miles away from cities. So pregnant women in labor, they send blood. Imagine if that technology was not alive, if that technology was not available, a lot of people would lose their lives. And this has also created jobs. So when you ask what are the biggest gaps, apart from access to finance and access to skills, and what AfriLabs is doing, I would say that some of the biggest gaps are infrastructures. In many parts of Africa, there's a lack of reliable and robust digital infrastructure. such as internet connectivity, which we keep talking about this. I promise you that some parts of the continent don't even have 4G, and some don't even believe 5G is real. They see it as some form of manipulation. So we need to even educate people and tell them, look, it's just a level up from 4G. So you can walk faster, you can move faster and meet up, with your innovators across the continent. Power supply is a terrible challenge that we face constantly. There is no solution to it right now. I mean, we have solar, but it's ridiculously expensive to install, which does not even support or help. Like it's expensive to install and expensive to maintain. Limited access to high-speed internet hampers effective utilization of cloud-based AI services and data-intensive applications. Additionally, power outages in inadequate power supply pose challenges to continuous operations of AI system. Say, for example, the metaverse, came into fruition and Africans want to plug into it. We don't even have the strength to even work with that level of data because of the system. Like, it does not even support. This is weighing down on our necks, and we're fighting to close this gap as swiftly as possible. AfriLabs is looking into interventions with organizations that are big in data to see how we can power our innovation hubs, giving them access to data, fast, reliable internet connection so they can thrive in their daily work. Data availability and quality. AI models require vast amounts of high quality data for training and validation. However, many industries in Africa face issues related to data scarcity, fragmentation, and poor data quality. Limited access to relevant and well-labeled data hinders the development of accurate and effective AI models, particularly in domains specific to African context. Data is misplaced. I know for a fact that we don't have one data bank in Africa where we can go in and fish for information. I did a research, just leaning off on policies, what policies are available, to ensure that our innovation economy thrives. I was looking into innovation policies, startup policies in Africa. What is available? What can we do better? What countries have these policies? And it took me reasonable amount of time, hours of research, to even find these policies, to find what exists and what doesn't exist. There is no data bank. And you'll be surprised that just less than 5 countries have innovation policies, startup policies that helps their innovators and entrepreneurs to thrive, which is a really, really poor number, considering the fact that we are over 50 African countries on the continent. AfriLabs, just living in on this and what AfriLabs is doing, we had one of our moonshots that we just recently developed is to see how we can have a unified African data system, which we've started already with our platform called AfriLabs Connect. We're seeing how we can integrate data and information. So if you need data information on whatever level, whatever sector, you go in there and you can find it. As long as it has to do with Africa, as long as it has to do with innovation, that is what we're aiming to achieve. Another gap is localized solutions. The majority of AI technologies and models are developed in Western countries and do not always address the unique challenges faced by African industries. The lack of localized AI solutions tailored to African context creates a gap in effectively leveraging AI for industry-specific needs and local problem solving. We see this all the time, there's so many innovative solutions out there, but we need to also consider the culture. Our climate is different, our weather is different, our culture is different, the acceptance rate is different. If we have more localized solutions based on AI from Africans, I think, and develop it and grow, I think we'll move at a faster pace than just bringing in like high tech into Africans, because yes, we are a young generation, but a lot of us are still very skeptical about tech and AI, especially with the fear of, job loss. Also, ethical and regulatory frameworks. The ethical implications and potential risks associated with AI development requires robust frameworks and regulation. Many African countries lack comprehensive policies and guidelines specifically addressing AI technologies. The absence of clear regulations and ethical framework impedes the responsible and equitable adoption of AI in various industries. Research and development. There is limited investment in research and development activities related to AI and this is a very serious critical gap. Research and development, this is how you build solutions, through research and development. Even if you have an idea, I mean, I have a bright idea right now. I have an idea on how to save people, you know, when they crash land, you know, on the sea. But it's just an idea in my head. Is it practical? Where can I go to develop this thought, this idea that I have, put it on paper and see the practicability of it and to see the effectiveness of it and the acceptable rate as well. So this is a huge gap. We have a huge gap in research and development. I don't know if it's lack of funding, if it's lack of interest, you know, but we need to find a way to bridge that gap. So at AfriLabs, we were looking to have this gap closed as soon as possible through our data bank, which will be focused on research and development. We're looking to have at least 10,000 knowledge partners to work with us in research on data, you know, gathering and just ensuring that we have a unified system. Why does this gap even exist? What are some of the reasons that it exists? We ask ourselves, if AI is for good, why are these gaps? Why are we not working towards achieving this? You know, my panelist has mentioned some of them, not to just repeat what he has said again, but there is a lack of collaboration and partnership. I think this is built from lack of trust from even within Africa, across the globe. If we can find a way, if we have strong enabling policies on the ground that holds both parties responsible, I think collaboration and partnerships will not be an issue. If they're cross-border, you know, if we have cross-border partnerships, these challenges, if we have innovators travel, you know, across the continent and see how things are done and see the material that are being used to develop new technologies and bring it back to Africa, this would close a huge gap. I will tell you for a fact that during COVID-19, we had discussed with our Fab Lab team on producing PPEs, and there was a whole process around it that was not, you know, very fast-paced. This was because they didn't have enough infrastructures. They didn't even have the right equipment and the resources to develop this PPEs to save lives. And that was really sad to see and to hear. So we're really working to ensure that these gaps are closed through collaborations, policy and governance, education, research, investment. We have a capacity building program, you know, that we run for our hubs. Is a €2 million project funded by the Ojon Fund Development, which started in 2020 and will be rounding off this year. Through the capacity building award funding, we have been able to build a learning platform where our hub stakeholders can go. You take courses built by one of our partners in Kenya, Strathmore University. They built a curriculum to just help innovators and entrepreneurs to grow in their space, to learn and understand the market. Through the ACBP as well, we've been able to fund cross-border workshops. So just to bring you out of your space and put you somewhere else and have an intensive 1 week workshop where you get to learn, you open your eyes to see the markets, to see the opportunities, to see the challenges faced by other people. So your solutions are not just tailored towards your environment, but you're also thinking across the continent and globally as well. Hope not run out of time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tessie. Very interesting. In the second round, I would like to go back to one of the things that you have pointed out, that is the legal framework. No? So we see there are a number of initiatives supported by donors in African countries, or is already being implemented in order to improve the legal framework for artificial intelligence and frontier technologies. So what is happening? Is this to what extent this is advancing? What is needed in order to strengthen this? This is something we would like to know more. No? And then you also mentioned that in many countries it's been promoted 5G, whereas they don't still have 4G technologies for connectivity. No? And then this is a question I would like to ask later also to Magda on infrastructure, connectivity, and artificial intelligence. No? Because there are skeptical people that say, to what extent we can promote digital transformation for firms, digital transformation for countries, if countries are suffering by lack of electricity or they don't have good connectivity. But I'm sure, Magda, that you have a good opinion, a good answer to this. So next, let me introduce a speaker from Festo, Ms. Fef Langat. First, let me explain what is Festo. Festo Didactic is the world-leading equipment and solution provider for technical education, designing and implementing learning laboratories, educational equipment and programs to train people to work in innovation areas, and is very active in African countries. So the main services of Festo is to offer solutions for rapid learning in a broad spectrum of technologies, including automation, pneumatics, electro-pneumatics, hydraulics, electro-hydraulics, electronics, mechatronics engineering, and a range of different technologies that associated with the 4th Industrial Revolution. So Festo is part of the Festo group, that is a globally oriented company with headquarters in Esslingen in Germany. So Fef Langat is a senior regional manager for Eastern Africa, and she is a trained chemical engineer. And the question is how new technologies such as AI and machine learning, big data, and others can be applied in African countries. So what are African countries doing to take advantage of new technologies? I also know that maybe you can explain. I know that Festo is developing butterfly drones. No, it will be interesting if you can explain this. That is also taking advantage of big data and artificial intelligence in order to make it work.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me to this session. And also thank you to my panelists, rest of my colleagues who have already shared great depth of valuable information regarding this topic, AI for good. And just to go back to your question on butterflies, let me add bio butterflies or bionics or electro butterflies, so that as we go along, we'll understand better. So as we know, nature is the epitome of artificial intelligence concepts. And as Festo, we draw our inspiration from nature. We know nature has many billion of years of engineering. And so getting the already concepts that have already been developed and implementing them has helped us as Festo to even develop solutions that have solved problems in our industries and also in our learning. So, and what is AI? Because I think for most people, it's a buzzword and it's really hard. It looks like something very hard. So just to give us really very overall or overview understanding is that AI is the act of gathering data to make great decisions. That's simply what AI is. And using the industrial terms, Of course, we use vision applications, communication systems, and technically it's anticipating the red light instead of reacting to the red light. Red light is, we know the alarm systems that go off in the industry when there's a problem. So instead of us waiting for the red light, waiting for the problem in the health sector, in our transport sector, in our education, and then reacting to it, we can already anticipate these problems with our AI and already make solutions to mitigate these problems. And it's not a nicety as people might think. AI is a necessity, not only in the global spectrum, but also in Africa. And I can say it's more of a necessity in Africa than ever before. With the problems that are being faced by African countries, we must also appreciate the huge potential of Africa. We have the young population of median age. Some countries have a very young median age of 15 years. I think Uganda, that's our neighbor, up to 19, 20, and maybe the oldest African country will have the median age of 21. It means there's up to 40 years. Africa has 40 years of potential, or they're ahead by 40 years when we talk about potential. And when you compare with the other countries whose median age is like 48 to 50 years. So you see, we have a gap of potential, and it's a positive gap to Africa. And these young people are already curious. We are developing innovations like in Kenya in agricultural sector. We have even in the health sector in Rwanda with the drones and so forth. But what we believe or what we have seen is lacking, especially also us here in Kenya also with Festo. We see that, yes, African countries are really trying to develop innovations and all this, even policies. We are already seeing the development of policies here and there, but we feel there's no synchronization or synergy or bringing together of all these efforts so that we put them in a line and see that what we have achieved and what we have not achieved. For example, we can have multiple organizations working on not so same thing, but really they are trying to achieve the same outcome. So I believe if we have a proper structure on the implementation framework, like a very solid structure on which, or a solid skeleton on which to see what is missing, what has been achieved, and what has not been achieved. I think working from there will help us identify areas really to focus on, and so that we know who is working on what in Uganda, who is working on what in South Africa, in Rwanda, and we see how we can quickly borrow those concepts, and then so that we can move forward to achieve what has not been achieved. And as a matter of fact, even AI itself, we keep saying, yes, we have gaps, even in learning, for instance. We have the skills that the industry is requesting us, like the Industry 4.0, and even the mechatronic skills and so forth. And then we have our trainees from the colleges and TVETs here in Africa who are being trained, but they're being trained on not what the industry needs. We talk about this gap. Yes, this gap exists. But one thing we don't realize is that even AI, implementing AI itself in the learning sector can help us close this gap. And we close it even on its own. We can call it in an autonomous manner. What do I mean by this? For instance, I can give an example of a digital learning platform that we have developed as Festo. So as a student is learning on this portal, it can recommend to the student what they need to learn based on their gaps, what they've not yet learned, based on the coursework, and they can continue to increase coursework in the areas they are weak on. Look at our social media these days, our Facebook and our Google. When you just open your phone, it will already recommend you what you need to watch based on what you have been watching or based on what you have been looking for. So can we integrate AI from basic kindergarten level? Can we even integrate AI by gathering data, real-time data on the industry needs, real-time data on our problems in Africa today, and even in the future, 50 years from now, 100 years from now? Can we really constantly borrow those data and integrate? And even as students get to choose what they learn, they're already advised by artificial intelligence, so that we don't have people finishing school, they have the best grades, but certainly they studied something else that the market didn't require. So I believe positive implementation of AI, having solid structural frameworks or a solid skeleton on which to identify the gaps and fill would be a good place to start before even having to develop all these policies, because that one, it's already being done, it has been done, and people are ready to do it again. It's just that we don't have a very clear picture on the exact needs and how to, on a structure which spans over a long time and that help us achieve sort of perfection. Also the creation of awareness on AI took me back to the times of COVID. When COVID came, I remember it was only few months before even small children knew what COVID was, before even small children knew how many minutes they needed to wash their hands, 20 seconds, and before people from all walks of life in Africa and in other areas, before they knew, it took a very short time before they knew about COVID. But what about AI? I think also communicating and creating awareness so that we can get a buy-in, even from our political framework and our leaders and all those stakeholders who are involved in this AI ecosystem. So I believe if information can even go to the people, even in non-digital ways, for people who cannot be reached on internet, simple terms. I remember the cartoons that you'd watch on your TV on someone washing hands, on what COVID is. I remember stickers that you would see. So I believe if we really take AI, understanding its impact and its revolutionizing power, we can take it and really own it and try to make sure that everyone is involved, even as basic as being informed about AI.
Thank you, Faye. Thank you. Very interesting. That reminds me of the good memory from the time that I lived in Africa and in Nairobi. Yeah, I remember. So that every year there is a Silicon Savannah, a number of startups, and entrepreneurs are providing new ideas. I remember they were discussing years ago about the constraints of finance, but they have been able to overcome these constraints by linking to investor from overseas markets. So this is quite interesting. And if you know more cases, recent cases of this on overcoming the constraints of the innovation ecosystem, that will be my next question next. But then let me go back to Maktar. Maktar, if you are there.
Yes, I'm there. Yeah.
Maktar, since not just frontier technologies, that has been we have been discussing this for a long time, but now with artificial intelligence, so people are saying in Africa there is a lack of basic infrastructure, so there is a lack of electricity. So then maybe we have to focus on that rather than digital transformation, rather than artificial intelligence. So how do you think we can do this simultaneously? Because we cannot wait for countries to have full infrastructure. Even in the US, not the whole territory is covered by internet, you know. So how do you answer to these skeptical views of digital transformation and AI in Africa?
That's a good question, and we can't wait. Otherwise, we'll be left behind. We need to go to follow quickly. As you know, in Africa, when you look at the digital divide, in the globally, we have 50% coverage on 4G. And the 50% coverage of 4G, 25% are in the rural area, and 85% in the urban area. And we have first to bridge this digital divide. And bridging digital divide, it is provide affordable access to the population, because the big problem is not the infra, but it is also the access. The access is very high in several African countries. And a lot of people can't use this infrastructure or this connectivity because the cost. And AI also can be used with the 4G, even for 3G, we can develop application of sub-application on AI. What we are doing now, according to the infrastructure, the current infrastructure in any country, we advise them the application adapted of the AI application adapted on their AI on their infrastructure. And some country, we advise them to use the satellite constellation also to get access, and this will provide opportunity for the innovator to develop some AI application. I think FED and TESI has highlighted some application in the agriculture sector. And there are a lot of key and innovative agriculture sector developed in Uganda, in Kenya, as well as in Ghana and Nigeria and South Africa. And a lot of this application use AI technology and blockchain technology without this 5G infrastructure. Now we need to really do an awareness on how we can use AI and what kind of infrastructure. We don't need a 5G, 4G for that, because a lot of African country doesn't have this infrastructure. A 5G we don't have in the continent, just we have some pilot. And because it's a good infrastructure, but everybody can't get this 5G infrastructure. And the objective is to support African countries to leverage digital technology according to their infrastructure. And it is something very important we are doing now in ECA. And a lot of this initiative we are doing together with you, UNIDO. And you highlight this Savannah. We organize now this with the university, with the Ministry of ICT, this kind of activity. And this show how innovative projects have been developed by the young Kenyan people using AI technology. We do the same thing. We have this forum calling STI for Africa, Sales Technology and Forum for Africa. We organize every year, and we'll try to develop how this new generation can use this emerging technology based on AI. Also, we use this initiative called African Connected Girl Coding Camp to initiate the young girl aged from 12 and 25 years to be familiar with this AI technology, this Internet of Object technology, this nanotechnology, and we provide them skills for 2 weeks, and after that they are in capacity to develop some project based on AI, and this project are based on their need. As of today, we have developed 250. This lady have developed 254 lady. And are across the continent. It will be, we organize 7 coding camp for the girl in 7 countries, and the rest will follow online. And now 35,000, as of today, 35,000 girls have been trained on this. And our objective is by next year to train 100,000. Of course, we have a portal, a web portal online to follow this girl. In conclusion, we have to do all together, the two together. We develop the policy, the digital transformation, and also we focus to develop AI based on the infrastructure, the existing infrastructure in the country. And on this way, we can, I think, bridge this digital divide in the continent, because you know, so there is a new slogan in UN when you talk about digital common, our digital common. But when you have to Africa, we don't have a digital common, we have a digital divide. We have to bridge this digital divide. Bridging digital divide is putting in place is an adequate policy, I say for my former colleague panelist, I think is something very important, and try to build from the existing application based on the need of Africa. And we can do a lot on AI application because we have a key example in several countries. In Egypt, they use their 4G infrastructure to develop a lot of application on AI, such as in the medical sector. In Uganda, you have some application in the agriculture sector. In Kenya, most of the application is based on climate change and financial sector. In South Africa, focus more in the financial inclusion, and also Ghana on the land, Togo on the land development, land management, and as well as several small application in West Africa and North Africa. Also, we have a lot of great application from Tunisia and Morocco using their existing infrastructure. I think we can move forward, provide access to the finance to this young innovator to boost the innovation, and as well as to help them on capacity building, because it is something we need to update anytime. And I think AfriLab has an important role to play with the young startup, because we need to build the capacity daily for the startup to be ready and to be ready to embrace this emerging technology. And I am going to stop there. And I think we have a lot of things to do together with UNIDO, because all this thing we work together, and also we have to bring on board AfriLab. And we need to work with them. In the past, we worked with AfriLab on the startup, but since 2 years ago, we didn't do something. But we needed to bring on board AfriLab, and also to see with faith what we can do for the African country. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you, Maktar. Very interesting. So we will work together, to support this effort. There is a question in the chat by Jacob William Brain. Thank you very much. So this is an interesting question on open source large language model. And open source is part of the discussion on the Global Digital Compact at the office of the UN Tech Envoy, UN Secretary General. So we would like to ask Tessie, on legal framework. We don't have much time, but maybe you can answer, Tessie, in a couple of minutes. How do you see open source, open data can support the efforts on advancing artificial intelligence and the legal framework in this regard? So please, Tessie, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. I mentioned earlier that AfriLab has a plan to have a data bank of all, data where we can have access to. Like Faith mentioned, accessibility of data is a big problem. We have all identified that as a huge gap. And the only way we can do this is with AI. It plays 100% role in moving forward. There is no how we can't do it manually. We cannot do it in an office. It's literally impossible. So AI plays 100% role in advancing technology growth, in Africa. ChatGPT is going to be, a learning process when we have this established. Just imagine if you have, just one place where you can go and fish for data and information on anything African innovation. If you want to work in Kenya, for example, you want to know what policies are available. In fact, through this, we're hoping to influence policies to see how we can have a unified innovation policy or startup policy in Africa. So you don't have to worry about the challenges of, what works in another country or what doesn't work. So we just want policy that we're looking to, achieve. You already know the market strength. You already know where you're going to. You already know what works, what doesn't work. So I'm just hoping, I'm praying. I mean, Magda, we have to work together. Marco, we have to work together. Look, we need all partners to come on board to make this a reality.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tessie. So Faith, I have a last question in just a couple of minutes, but I would like to ask you, if an entrepreneur comes with an idea applying AI, and she comes to you, and he said, I need funding, I need more access to basic science. So how do you advise him in order to move forward with his project?
Thank you so much for your question. I think first we have to understand really the gaps that are associated with his idea or even the implementer himself. So if the problem is with regards to skills, we advise them to get relevant skills, and of course with the available channels or available training opportunities, even online and even globally. And if it's finance, of course, we really guide them on where and how to access finance. But more importantly also, we inspire the people, the young people, to network with one another locally and globally, reach out, research, go down to the system problem. You have seen the apparent problem, but go down to exactly the system problem so that you can solve it holistically.
Thank you very much. I see, Magda, you are raising your hand. So please, the floor is yours.
Okay, I think just I want to add something on the open source. Because open source affects this the AI policy, but the issue is in the AI policy, it is largely absent from the discussion around AI policy maker, and also we need to consider more open source role in AI. And I think it is something we do together with UNIDO in the African group to develop this AI strategy framework. It is something very, very, very important, because without that, I think we can't expect to get a lot of benefits of this AI. Open source is key now for adoption for AI in the African continent. As well, another issue also I would like to highlight for AfriLab, I think we need to think about a common database for the startup in the continent, as well as a data center. It will help a lot the African continent to build several applications on AI, because the issue now is in the continent, it is a data center. Did we host the data center? Who hosted the data center? We talk about green data center, but there is a lack of a data center in the continent. Everybody will tell you, I have a data center, but it's not a data center chair rules. Look, we have, I think, Marco, we have to discuss with AfriLab to see how we can integrate this data center also among the startup in the continent. Of course, with TC also, there is an issue of open source we can look at. We are looking now, we are working on that, and any idea is welcome from our two colleague panelists. And everything is, we try to do everything in the right way and the good win for African country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Magda. So this has been a very good session. I will say the quick takeaways is first that we have to look at the basic infrastructure. discuss and promote the deployment of energy and connectivity, but at the same time, simultaneously, we don't need to wait. We can do in parallel work on using and taking advantage of all those frontier technologies, artificial intelligence, in order to support productivity and competitiveness of countries. Yeah? Of course, being aware of the potential risk, but at the same time balancing our approach. And I think for this is essential that we keep cooperating with ITU, with the UNECA, with AfriLabs, with private sector in general, so in order to make this possible. So then I think we also need to work on policies. Tessie emphasized about the legal framework. This is something that has to advance also quickly. I see a number of initiatives already in place in Africa, but it's necessary more maybe contextualization of this legal framework, that not just importing and imposing, but larger discussion is needed in this regard. And then on private sector, we see that there are a number of initiatives, companies already slowly but moving relatively fast, no? In considering the constraints, that are companies already taking advantage of technologies and already coming out with interesting innovations for the African market, but also beyond. So that's something that we have to look at closely in order to see how we can link African entrepreneurs, innovators, and technologies with other continents, with other regions. No? So having said this, just let me go back to control. ITU control, please. So the floor is yours.
Thank you for participating in today's AI for Good session. We hope you've learned something new, innovative, and engaging in today's event. We now encourage you to continue the conversation on the live video wall in the neural network. Here you can ask questions, like and comment, share links, complete the poll, connect with interesting profiles, or speak one-on-one using the chat and video function. We invite you to explore the lobby, try the smart matching quiz, visit the virtual exhibits, poster boards, the eShop, and build your personalized AI for Good program. Let's shape the future of AI for Good.
AI is a powerful tool.
This summit can help ensure that artificial intelligence charts a course that benefits humanity and bolsters our shared values.